Situs Masi. Hafidades and Manana Situs to the Garrido family that's here this morning. Biba Mes CHamoru. March is the month of CHamoru. I think it should be CHamoru Day every day, but we celebrate Mes CHamoru also. So thank you for being here. Joining me, ladies and gentlemen, are my colleagues in the 36th Guam legislature. I'll introduce them to you. Our Speaker Therese Terlaje, and we have our Sina, Senator Pedo Terlaje, Senator Joseph Agustin, Senator Sabina Perez, and Senator Joanne Brown. Thank you so much for joining me as we pay tribute and give honor to a man who really stood strong for Guam. So at this time, as we celebrate the CHamoru month, I am honored and humbled to posthumously recognize a man who I call Uncle Ben Garrido, a man proud of his CHamoru heritage, a war veteran serving our nation proudly, and a war survivor enduring the struggles of war at a very, very young age. Although we are deeply saddened to lose his voice and advocacy, we are happy to recognize someone who fought for our freedom as an American and a CHamoru man, especially during CHamoru month. I want to take the time for all of you being here. Thank you for those joining us on YouTube live stream, because today we will present Resolution 281-36 COR. Ladies and gentlemen, as the author of the legislation, this resolution is 281-36. It was introduced by myself, Senator Amanda Shelton, our legislative secretary, Senator Frank Blas, Senator Joseph Agustin, Senator Pedo Terlaje, Speaker Terlaje, Senator Perez, Senator Brown, and of course the rest of the members of the 36th Guam legislature. It's relative to posthumously recognizing the late Vicente Ben Ulloa Garrido for his service to the people of Guam and the nation, and commending him for his dedication to protecting CHamoru homelands and preserving the CHamoru heritage, and further expressing condolences to his family on his passing on behalf of the people of Guam. And at this time, to the family, I'd like to share with you that I will have my colleagues help me read this resolution. Usually we do a summary of the presentation, but I think it is fitting as we pay honor to Uncle Ben for all that he's done for our island of Guam. I think it is important that we read. I'm going to ask my colleagues to join me in reading this, and I do want to share with you that we have two of our colleagues in the 36th Guam legislature that also served with Uncle Ben at the Guam Police Department, and that was Senator Pedo Terlaje and also Senator Joseph Agustin. So at this time, Speaker, could you please lead, and we'll have everybody read a couple of paragraphs, and then I'll have Senator Pedo do the official presentation.
Buenas. Be it resolved by the Committee on Rules of Imina 36 na Legislatura en Guahan, whereas Vicente Ben Ulloa Garrido, fondly known as Faet, from the village of Dedido and formerly of Asan, was born on May 24, 1939, and is the son of Vicente Pangilinan Garrido and Maria Aquinino Ulloa Garrido. And whereas Ben is survived by his wife, Janice Jackson Garrido, and his children, Conchita Garrido Zukowski, Patricia Garrido, Anita Garrido, Marcelo Garrido, Luis Marcelo Garrido, Francis Earl J. Garrido, and stepchildren Rebecca Kinata, Brandy Hall, Ivana Sanchez, and Brittany Jackson Flores, deceased, and numerous grandchildren and step-grandchildren. And whereas Ben had served in the U.S. Army for 8 years, where he was assigned to C Company, 2nd Battalion, 6th Infantry, later 4th Infantry, with a deployment to Germany in 1960. Fort Ord, California in 1966, then returning to Guam on August 8, 1967.
Whereas on August 26, 1967, Ben was deployed to active military duty in Vietnam and Cambodia, seeing action in Dak To, Kon Tum province. Whereas in July 1968, Ben then pursued a career in law enforcement and began serving the community as a Guam police officer with what was then the Guam Department of Public Safety and assigned to the Dedido precinct. And
And whereas in 1973, Ben became a detective and would later provide many years of dedicated service with the Juvenile Investigation Division, eventually retiring from the Guam Police Department in 1987 at a rank of sergeant. And whereas the hardships of war and the brutal treatment of the Chamorro people at the hands of the Japanese would leave an indelible mark and a deep-rooted memories in Ben, leading him to become a lifelong advocate and fighter for Chamorro rights and human rights of his people.
Whereas Ben will be fondly remembered for actively participating in the campaign for Chamorro rights, as he was relentless and unwavering in his efforts to fight for the Chamorro people, Chamorro land rights, the return of ancestral lands, Chamorro war reparation, and Chamorro rights of self-determination. Ben was also part of the Lola Cola movement to address the cost of living challenges on Guam. And he was a dedicated fighter in pursuing justice for the Chamorro people, fighting for our beloved homeland of the Marianas Islands, with his deep love for its people and for Guam. Go on. Ben was called to rest on February 23, 2022, at the age of 82. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Committee on Rules of Mina 36 na Legislaturan Guam does hereby, on behalf of the Legislaturan Guam and the people of Guam, posthumously recognize the late Vicente Ben Ulloa Garrido for his service to the people of Guam and the nation, and commend him for his dedication to protecting Chamorro homelands and preserving the Chamorro heritage, and further express condolences to his family on his passing on behalf of the people of Guam, and it be further resolved that the Speaker and the Chairperson of the Committee on Rules certify that the Legislative Secretary attests to the adoption hereof, and that copies of the same be thereafter transmitted to the family of the late Vicente Ben Ulloa Garrido and to the Honorable Lourdes A. Longuero. This resolution was duly and regularly adopted by Mina 36 na Legislaturan Guam on the 9th day of March 2022.
Sitsusmasi, senators, for taking this time as we continue to honor Uncle Ben Garrido. And at this time, Senator Pedo, Uncle Pedo, can you join me? And if I was asked if I can get a representative, Auntie Julie as a sibling, his wife, and his son as a representative. Before we take the full photo, if we can please join us, and I'll have Senator Terlaje do the official presentation to the family as also a co-worker in the Guam Police Department with Uncle Ben. So, yeah, Marcelo, can we just try it? Thank you. Thank you, Speaker. And Auntie Jan.
Buenas noches a todos. Yo, una aswa hagas bonita, si Ben. Ani malago jo tati na tempo. Malago am jan sienjo Santos. Sienjo malago para governo go por segundo governo. Kulana chilu stisia na Manelo. Utungo stisia na Manelo na manhungi gikotura. Janay masanganyo na adingi di chiluta. Apachado sa lekuna siya si Ben dan ni Maniluna siya dan ni familia dan si Enjo. Fumanagyo muna ni Chalan ni Hafa para baitsogi como representan publiko jo. Jahuna be Nahi dongkulo na si Jus Masi para hamju toros ni manggaigi gini pata onrai celuta. Saningayan na be malifag ben. Mami na dos ki policeman. Mami fanan taklu ye za Vietnam. Parawi I pasu mo na za hami za si ben. Man hongyam ki kultura man hongyam na gidurantin inila lata. Debi di tafan aguti kanai. Tafan aguti kanai jata hasutati. Ikus tumbi ni man mafanawgit ni man nata. Sa edzigi muna lalala espirituta kumuman CHamoru. Ja yasagwana jawa na beisangan na yasagwamu si ben beisangan na talo na kulana tsumelo. Ane malagujo para segundo benno kana karpuengi manami ja si ben manami ja si jo. Dan senjo santus. Gua naman hana mujung itase. Zaman agutem kanai. Zaman managutem kanai ja in aridunduji. Dan sangan ujung imalagu mami dan si enju pa ben setbi itaw-taw ta. Ay ti CHamoru itaw-taw ta. Manahana mujung jatium biaya na manahana mujung itasi. Historian mami jan si enjo, jan si ajo, jan si ben. An puengi manahana pai eji bokungo. Ilang story ginahan mami ni ginin hijung. Todus ti siya in lagnus jempega gimbanda zaman halumang gibokungo zaman manaitayam. Man manaitayam na punayam isay nata. Ni diretsu. Na chalan hafa para bencewi kumuman sulidanun man CHamoru. Dadang kulu na onru para hamju torus sa maulik ya sagwamu maulik si ben na tautaw ja masya baagungo na gwa masamku gila legislatura jonggan magahit gwa masamku lo si ben Panan 80 years old si Ben, 82 or something ne. Lo kulana mami ulu. Kulana mami ulu gi hafa na tso siya. Gi policeman. Ani policeman no pareha dan si Don San Agustin. Gagi jo no sumarento jo gi tataw si Ben. Lo sa Guam bainai kredito todo. Sadistiki anay matunguam na dos, manunggiham, hafa para bensuegi kumu mansulidanwid, data dalaki muna hafa man mafanagwetan ni manaynata, data onra todo, ibidana, zo untungua, na hagasit manita. Guaha na man gespengihit, manhanid man manaitay da pedi po. Sa chalani sa inata muna da para tatsogi moni sina patapanlala kumu manihita todo. Si Jus Masi benai kredito loke si Vice Speaker si Tina ni atsogisti resolution dane agangu si Tina ko malago jo para be co-sponsor leku Tina sempia dai chelu Sempia bei conformini este. Sakulana chilu si ben. Da si Jus Masi, Vice Speaker, si Jus Masi, hamju todo ni man gachongu gi legislatura. Maila ta continua. Umunda siya man mafanagweta ni man nanata si Jus Masi.
Thank you. Senator Joe San Agustin.
I'm going to keep this very short, just to let you all know that when I was growing up in Deredu, Ben was known as McGarrett. For many of the people in Deredu that are listening, it was like, that was when I was a lot younger. I'll be 65, so that was quite a while ago. But when I was growing up, if Ben was on duty, por favor, stay home. Because he knows who you are. He knows everybody in Deredu. He was like the neighborhood cop. Then as I was growing up, and I joined the police force, I'm like, wow. I got into detective, then I found out that Ben was at the juvenile division while I was at the adult detective division. I'm like, Ben, gagawa. Like naketu nodzer says at kakayazo. And Ben would always tell me, you know, my guy would always tell me, Zo pasensya, soga dinansi. Do what's right, regardless of what anybody feels. And I'd always run into him, and even when I started the campaign, and Joe knows that because I know Joe well. I was a lot smaller when I knew Joe, and even though I'm taller, I'm still younger than him, very much. And Joe would tell me the same thing like Ben would tell me. Pasensya, na mesgunaw, tanatsogi dinansi. Do what's right, no matter what, and everything will fix itself. And support the CHamoru rights, and that's all I'm here for. I'm here for the people of Guam and support the CHamoru. And for the family, thank you for allowing us to be able to enjoy Ben. Because I tell you what, I had fun in the police department with Ben. I had fun when I was young, because I know how fast I can run in Lada Avenue, where he lives. I know the routes, and he would always get to the other end, and I'm like, I'm not seeing my Garrett, atunga. And you know, folks, and that's something that many of us in there do will never forget Ben. That's just Ben. And then Joe's there also with the Respicious clan saying, Daya, say so, tunga, managaigyo, and then we move on. But thank you. And it is a great honor to be able to participate in this resolution for Ben. And if we could have given it earlier, I think we would have done it when he was still alive. But even in his passing, he has served us very well, even more than most people will ever be able to achieve. Thank you very much.
So this time, Speaker, with Senator Pedo to give the family, please, both of you. Speaker.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, I'd like to see if anybody. Thank you. Would any of you guys like to say something? Or the people of Guam, would any of you guys like to say something, or would I like to? Please.
This is an absolute honor for me and my family. Vice Speaker Muña Barnes and senators, thank you on behalf of all my family, my siblings, and everyone who fought with my father for CHamoru rights and self-determination. This means a lot to us, and it's something we will proudly hang in our homes once we leave here. Thank you.
Family, this concludes the resolution presentation, and if it's okay with everybody, we'd like to take an official photo with our colleagues, and then hopefully, because we're all wearing masks, I think we can gather around and try and encompass everybody. I know that I'm going to include this as a one-unit family because you guys are all from the same family, and we'll just go ahead and stay, but keep our masks on, okay? Si Zeus ang binidisi hamdu todos.